on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the new dies that I got for the Tikka build, but before we do that, I made myself a new shirt, so I'm actually thinking about possibly selling these if I get enough interest in it, maybe sending a few out to some of my buddies on YouTube. So if you're interested in something like this, let me know. Basically, it just kind of provide you with something for your money that helps support my channel. I don't necessarily just want people to send me stuff. I think that it's more fair if you're actually getting something out of it. So maybe I'll send some vinyls with the shirts. We'll kind of see how it goes, play it by ear, see what kind of designs I come up with. But I got the new shirts. I'm pretty excited about these. I've got a few more colors in the works, but I've only done this one sample so far, and I think it turned out pretty good. So as you can see here, it's got Utah, my home state, and then this is actually my Tikka right here that I designed specifically for the shirt. And then on the back, I've got my AR-15, and then it says reloading, long range shooting, and gear. But yeah, I think they turned out great, and I'm kind of excited about them. So I'll have a few more colors, a few different colors of the actual print on the shirt, see how it goes. But let's get into the point of today's video, which is reloading dies for the new chambering of the Tikka. Alright guys, getting into the update on the Tikka build. Currently it's still the 243. It's got this factory Tikka barreled action sitting inside this Boyd's Pro Varmint stock. I upgraded the stock with the adjustable cheek piece. That's because I swap out my scopes from rifle to rifle occasionally, and sometimes I use the AR one-piece mount on top of this base, so it stands up just a little bit taller than what most scope setups usually do. So having the adjustable cheek piece helps me adjust between every scope that I have. I also have the Wilson barrel here, and this is a 1 1/8 twist, and it's going to have a finished overall length of 26 inches to help me get the muzzle velocities I'm looking for to try and shoot this thing out to 2,000 yards. So the point of this video is to take a look at the new reloading dies I got for the new cartridge for the Tikka, so let's take a peek at those. And here's what I decided to go with. I sided with the 7mm Winchester short mag. There's a couple reasons for this. One of them is it's still a short action cartridge, so I'm getting all the same velocity as the Rem mag, which is the long action cartridge, but this one's non-belted, and it actually may even yield higher velocities with its setup. So I don't have a brass trimmer exactly, so I have been using the Lee cutter and lock stud method, and I found it to be really awesome and it works great. But to buy a case trimmer is actually $100 or so. So I decided to go with the WSM because Lee offered a cutter and lock stud for the 7 WSM, and that saves me quite a bit of money. These things are like $5 for the kit. All it comes with is a little shell holder and then this little rod, which has the 7mm diameter rod here, and then the exact case length. So that will cut it down into spec. All my brass will be exactly the same. I won't have to worry about it coming out of adjustment or anything like that. And then I'll just hit it with a quick chamfer and deburr. That's what I've done with all my cartridges so far, which is 223, 243, and 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've had no issues with that to this point. And it's a good system. It's very cost effective, and I kind of like how it works. It's easy. I can throw it in the drill. It goes quick. But let's get into the dies. I want to kind of explain why I went with Hornady dies instead of Redding or Lee. Lee is affordable and they make great stuff. However, with this precision rifle, I think that these dies offer me a little bit more for what I can do as a reloader and get better precision out of them. So let's crack it open and what we've got inside. So we've got two different dies here. This is my full length sizing die, and this is my seating die over here. So let's grab the full length sizing die real quick. This has Hornady's what they call their zip spindle. So basically you can loosen it up and you can quickly pull it through, which I don't seem to get it to work yet. I don't know if you kind of got to break it in or like wedge a screwdriver into that and kind of open it up a little bit. But it is threaded, so I mean, you don't have to zip spindle it. You can just back it off to whatever depth that you're looking for. Something cool about this, the expander ball has a nice long taper to it, so if your case necks have a dent in them, then as they slide onto here, it's got a nice polished finish, and it should help them open right back up to the round case mount that you're looking for. Also, it's got these little replaceable decapping pins, and this expander ball is actually threaded onto the zip spindle rod, and you can punch out the pin, get it to drop out there, and right here. So you've got multiple pins that they send you with the dies. Hornady includes this little baggie right here, which comes with 2 extra pins, and then this extra metal C-clip, which is part of the seating die, and then this Allen wrench, which is the exact fit for your locking collar rings right there. So getting back to this, it's replaceable. That way if you break one and the stores aren't open that day, or they just don't have them in stock, they'll keep you up and running for a little bit at least. I've never had an issue with breaking any of my decapping pins, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue for me. I also have a universal decapping die as well, so I'll probably be using that most of the time. But it's a great option, and I have it if I need it. Now, since we have the full-length sizing die tore apart, one more thing on these locking collar rings. This is basically the best design you can get. The Allen head isn't screwing itself into the threads. It's not going to cause any issues there, and it clamps on and tightens down, and it'll give you an exact spin it down till it bottoms out, and it's better than the Lee O-ring, because the Lee O-ring comes in contact, but you can actually tighten it down and adjust the dimensions a couple thousandths if you really wanted to and you weren't paying attention. But taking a look inside the die, the finish on the inside here, it is far superior to the Lee. As you can see, there's a reflection in there, and if you actually just feel the inside finish of this, it's a lot more polished than any of the Lee components that I've had and used are. Basically, it's got a little bit nicer finish as well. Hornady, these are their custom grade dies, which I think are like their first tier of dies. They're not even like the crazy expensive ones. These are very affordable, and that's another great reason that I actually decided to go with these. Some of the Redding stuff is a couple $100s, which it may be justifiable for some, but for me, really, I think a full-length sizing die and their seating die, between the two, I should be able to make some great reloaded rounds. The threads are nice and clean, and the finish on them is good. I did have to clean them out. They had that factory oil finish on there, and I took care of that by cleaning them up. So that's about all I have to say about the full-length resizing die. We'll throw this back in the container. As you can see here, it's got 1 extra slot for another die. At some point, I may get a Lee neck sizing only die, but they don't make one for the 7WSM. I actually have to send them a piece of brass as well as the projectile that I'm looking to shoot, and then they'll basically build one to spec for whatever I'm doing. They have to know what size your chamber is and the neck wall thickness of your brass. Jumping over to the seating die. The seating die on the Hornady stuff is really cool. So this one's got a sliding collar. The neck of your brass will come up in contact with this. And then you can see that secondary silver ring. That's actually where your bullet will come in contact with. And that's what's going to help center your bullet and line it up with your brass and get everything in the same axial alignment. And that will reduce runout, which is one of the big reasons that I like this. Is this should be able to help reduce runout, because this wiggles back and forth just a couple thousandths, kind of free floating, and it helps guide everything up into a straight line, which should increase accuracy. So backing this out here, this would be how you adjust your seating depth, and we can actually remove this, which I want to talk about something cool here. This is just a standard screw-in seating depth. You can see that like that, and the more you screw it in, the shorter it becomes. Simple enough. Hornady actually sells a micrometer seating die that drops right into any of their dies. It's called the Micro adjustable seating die, which is really cool. Which is a really cool system. That way, if you're doing multiple bullets pretty often, basically you can get your bullet just to seat into the cartridge, measure your overall length. Say you need to go in 20 thousandths, you can read on the die itself and just spin up 20 thousandths, and it'll be dead on to the length that you're looking for. So if we remove this, something cool about these. Something cool about the Hornady dies is they have these seating stems which are swappable. So they have a couple different designs, and they sell optional different seating stems. And the reason behind this is because different bullets have different shapes and ogives. Now, because I want to shoot the 180 grain ELD match bullet, they happen to sell one for the 180 grain ELD match bullet. So it's a great pairing right here. And this seating stem is right out of the die. And if you throw the 180 bullets in there, they wiggle back and forth. They don't get a perfect seat up against that die. And you run the risk of marking up your bullets as you seat them. It might put a little ring on them, and it might distort your bullet a little bit depending on neck tension. So if we pop open the 180 ELD seating stem, what's cool about this is this has been machined to match the ogive of the 180 ELD perfectly. And as you slide the 180 ELD in there, there's no wiggle. It's got a perfect grab on this bullet, and it's going to help reduce run out. So I can buy multiple versions of these, like for the 162 grain ELD or a couple of their hunting bullets, and I can swap them out to whatever best suits the bullet that I'm using. These are like $12 a piece for this one right here, which isn't too bad. To get the perfect bullet alignment, I think it's kind of worth it to reduce run out and increase accuracy for something as small of a cost as like $12. And then the only complaint I have with these is basically they're unmarked, so it's hard for me to tell which one is which. But these do have different heights. The 180 is a little bit shorter, and I think that's because the 180 bullet is longer. So up in the die, it gives you more adjustability to have that set to a longer length with a longer bullet. Now that extra metal C-clip that Hornady sent with the dies is actually for the seating die. As you can see here, here's the end of it, and then if you look into the die right there, what that is this is a metal retaining spring so that this sliding collar doesn't come out. But if you push the collar back up in there, you can actually pop the spring off, and then that allows the collar to come out, and you can clean out your dies and lubricate them, do whatever you got to do to them. So nice little system there, and they send you with an extra, which I don't see any reason why that would break, but hey, you know what? I'll take free stuff. So that's the reason that I like to go with this, because I think with the sliding collar, it helps things kind of line up into alignment. This gives me a better lockup on the bullet, which is a little bit superior to Lee's system. And also I can upgrade later to that micro adjust seating stem if I choose to do so. So these are kind of upgradable, and you can make them work with whatever you're trying to accomplish, which I think is awesome. The full length resizing die with the replaceable decapping pin is pretty cool, with the adjustable range of where I can put the expander ball. That's pretty sweet. And then also on both of them, they have the better locking rings, so I can lock my adjustment exactly where I want it, and then I can take them in and out of my die and get them right back to where they were. So I think these are a little bit superior. The price is good. I think I paid like $35, $38 for this, and Hornady has a free bullets mail-in rebate type of thing, so I can tell them if I want to get some 6.5 millimeter bullets or 7 millimeter, whatever I'm looking to do. I'm probably going to side with the 6.5 just because I'm going with the 180 grain 7 millimeter, and they don't offer the 180s as some of the free bullets, unfortunately. But it's probably because that's like the most expensive version of the 7 millimeter they have. So those are the reloading dies I'm going with. Some of the reloading components I'm going to be using, like the different case trimmer, and I think that should make for some pretty good brass prep. I think that's going to help make some of the better match ammunition that I can. I went with the 7 millimeter Winchester short mag for the reasons that I described, and I think that it's going to be beneficial to what I've got going on. Right on. That's going to do it for the rest of this video. I appreciate you guys stopping by, supporting the channel, dropping comments, liking the videos, and just watching the videos as well. It is appreciated. The t-shirts, I'm thinking right around $20. Basically, I have to buy the shirt, get the material to make the design for it, and then use my own time to weed out the design, put it onto the shirt, and then I need to make a couple bucks off the top so I can help buy bullets and powder for it. And then you guys actually get something out of it. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think it should end up being reasonable, and then I appreciate it. So we'll talk to you guys later. The dog needs to be pet now, so thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you in the next video. You say hi?